Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Rotary Club of London, our meeting of July 5th. Just a quick reminder that we will be recording this meeting and uploading it to our YouTube channel for other people to watch. I have muted everyone's line, but you have the ability to unmute at any time if you have a question or if you want to participate in the discussion. As is Rotary tradition, we will be starting our meeting with a toast to the Queen of Canada, and with a second toast to Rotary International. So I will be making some changes to our meeting formats over the course of the next little while. We will be testing some different ideas with respect to how we do the meetings. Nothing too significant, but just a few tweaks here and there. It is my pleasure today, though, to introduce our guest speaker, Sue Storie, who will be talking to us about the Rotary Toastmaster Alliance. Sue's not really a stranger to our club. She was the assistant governor for Area 4 a few years ago. She's currently a member of the Rotary District 6330 Global Passport Club, as well as the current District 6330 membership chair. Sue and her husband have belonged to Toastmasters for a number of years, and Sue has served in a number of different roles in Toastmasters. So she is kind of here with her Toastmaster and Rotary expertise to talk to us more about the Rotary and Toastmaster Alliance. So I'm going to pass over control to you, Sue, and you can share your presentation.
Thank you so much, President Don, and that's the first time I think you've heard that, as the incoming president, fellow Rotarians and fellow Toastmasters, if there are any here. I am here to talk to you about an alliance which began a couple of years ago, even though nobody really knew about it. This was an alliance between two worldwide organizations. Rotary, we all know about. Rotary empowers people to make changes around the world in their communities and within themselves. That's pretty powerful. Toastmasters creates leaders. Toastmasters helps you develop communication skills. These two organizations have goals that are very, very similar. And in fact, it makes sense that they should work together. So they started a couple of years ago in secret. The presidents of each organization talked to each other. They thought, how can we make this work between these two worldwide organizations? How can we make each one stronger? Of course, if people decide to join the other organization, that's a win-win for both. But meanwhile, we'll talk about the core reasons for doing this. And that would be to improve our communication and leadership skills, which in turn will further the Rotary mission. This all came out to the public about a year and a half ago in January. And then about a year ago, last May, they developed courses in Rotary Club Central that were exclusively for Rotarians. Has anyone here done any of those courses besides me? Because you didn't know they were there, possibly, or because you didn't know how easy it is to find them. And that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. These are courses that you can do for absolutely no charge. I pay membership to Toastmasters clubs because it gives me many benefits and it gives me the confidence to appear with you here today. But if you just want to get a taste of what these courses can do, you can do it for no charge. And you may say to yourself, Why would I be interested in communication skills anyway? I can talk to any group. The question is, talking or communicating? Communicating means that your audience is taking in what you are selling. And if you are trying to influence or educate or persuade, it is dependent on the reception at the other end. Toastmasters can help you to improve that engagement. So let's look at where they are in case somebody here would like to give it a shot. You may just think that Toastmasters know all about these projects, but we don't. It's only because I'm also a Rotarian that I'm able to share this information with you. Has anyone here ever logged into Rotary.org? I know many of you have, but I'm guessing that many of you have not. And that's the first step. It's a two-step process. Go to Rotary.org, click on My Rotary, and then click on Sign In. In each case, you will have some information to enter. And once you do that, you're wondering to yourself, where do I go from here? Because there are many, many menus. Go to Learning and Reference. When you click it, there will be a drop-down box, and it will be the Learning Center. Once you're in there, you'll have many choices again. Where do I click? Do I do a search for course catalogs? My recommendation is go to Professional Development. That is the only place that I have found that has all of the 9 courses. So when you click on Professional Development, again, you get many choices. And wouldn't it be lovely if they were all together? But they're not. You will look for the ones that say Rotary Toastmasters. They're interspersed. And to make it easy for you, I have listed them. The 3 that I want to talk to you about have to do with giving speeches. These are your communication skills. But there's more. Once you've gone in and you find you like this, there are also 5 that have to do with leadership. Excellent courses, but not something that we're going to talk about today. In each of the 3 speech projects, they suggest that you give your speech somewhere. So you are going to develop a speech about 5 minutes long, and then give a speech. Will you give it at Rotary? Will you give it at work? We recommend you come to a Toastmasters club. And why? Because you might feel a little uncomfortable asking one of your fellow Rotarians to give you an evaluation. Toastmasters give evaluations at every meeting, and we do have a certain level of skill that we develop in this, but it's up to you. You could give the speech to your bathroom mirror. That wouldn't matter because it's all self-paced. We're going to look at one of the courses. The first speech you give is called Develop a Speech. If anyone in this Zoom meeting has ever been to Toastmasters, you will recall your very first speech was about 4 minutes long, and it's called the icebreaker. And that's what this is. This is a 4 to 6 minute speech about yourself. Some people say that's very hard to talk about themselves. You will give that speech somewhere. You will receive evaluation. And you have now broken the ice. You have given a speech. We'll go through the project so you'll have an idea of what the online learning course looks like. And again, if you're in the Toastmasters program, this follows the same procedures as our courses as members, but these are specially developed for Rotary. Each speech is self-paced. You do a lot of clicking. So you click on begin for your first speech. You'll have an introduction. You have assessments at the beginning and at the end of every project to develop your own skill, to see if you've learned anything from the project. You'll have various downloadable information sheets that you can print off if you want, or you can simply upload them. You'll have different lessons that you learn and videos that you can watch or skip over. You'll have an assignment checklist. You'll have an evaluation resource. Your evaluator will follow a very strict list of criteria when they give you your evaluation. And you usually send that to them. However, if I'm involved, I can send it for you. Because as I said before, Toastmasters do not have access to this. And I'm not sure that Rotarians would be interested in going and printing out your evaluation. You should be prepared to get that yourself. And here's what it looks like. On the first page, you write in your own comments, what you liked about the speech, what could be better, and to challenge yourself. And then on the second, you rate the various levels for each aspect of public speaking. If you've never really considered communication before, you might find that this is a really valuable tool. If you're evaluating someone else, often you learn things about your own speaking as well. The second project is called Deliver a Speech. So remember, the first project was 4 to 6 minutes long. The second one is 5 to 7 minutes, and that's a standard length for most Toastmaster speeches. In this one, you learn how to make the speech better. So the first one, you're getting out of your comfort zone to talk to an audience. The second one, you're learning how to make them listen. And you will learn things like body language, vocal variety. You'll learn about things like eye contact, and you will learn about pace. And again, you'll receive an evaluation. The third speech is my favorite. Inspirational speech, I think, is geared to Rotary, because how often do you have a topic that you really want to share with other people? Whether it's the message of getting rid of polio, or whether you want support for a school or a water project, or shelter box. So many things to be passionate about as a Rotarian. And this speech will give you tips on how to convey that passion, how to get people to do what you want them to do. And once you've finished, as I mentioned, there are all sorts of leadership projects as well. The basics, and then leading a team. If you are going to be president next year, for example, you might find some of these to be of interest. Or if you are going to be forming a team for that new project, these are things that could be useful. So all of those things are available to you and me as Rotarians, as just a part of our Rotary membership. They're not available to Toastmasters or outside of our organization. If you do decide to attend a Toastmasters meeting, perhaps you've got your speech ready, you're just not sure, and you email me and say, Sue, I'd like to find a club where I can deliver this. Here's what you can expect when you attend a Toastmasters meeting. There will be prepared speeches by people who are Toastmasters, and we hope by Rotarians. There will be impromptu speeches of about 1 minute long, where you can practice things like job interview skills. And you will hear evaluations. The things that people will notice that could make a speech better will help you in your own speaking. Not to mention, Toastmaster meetings tend to be fun. So usually we have a little bit of laughter. And if you are interested in participating, we do have a Toastmasters club that is also for Rotarians. It's called STAR, which stands for Serving Toastmasters and Rotarians. It has members from around the world. Our Sergeant at Arms is in the Rotary Club of St. Petersburg, Russia. We have people in Ireland and Great Britain and the US, as well as Canada, of course. I'm a member of STAR, and if you're ever interested in attending, all you have to do is let me know and I can send you the Zoom invitation. Also, in the works, we are planning a local Rotary Toastmasters Club, which will hopefully meet Wednesdays at noon. That is in the works right now. So within your club, if you think that somebody would be interested in this, perhaps you might put out a challenge. How many people would go into Rotary Club Central to the Learning Center? Another challenge would be to invite a Toastmaster to come to your meeting. Ask them to run an impromptu speaking session just for fun. You could do that in your breakout sessions before the meeting. There's lots of ways that you can leverage the Rotary Toastmaster connection. And it's really organic. It's how we determine that we're going to make the alliance work. So whatever suggestions you have, feel free to email me. Right now, I am just beginning the first week of being the membership chair for the district. And I think that Rotary and Toastmasters may have some connection in that role. So who knows what the year will bring, but I would like to hear from anybody with ideas. And at this point, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. President Don.
A quick reminder to everyone, if you have a question, you will need to unmute yourself. I know I have a number of questions, so I will get the ball started. How does that sound? With the partnership and the resources that are available on Rotary.org, are those only available to members of Rotary clubs? Are they available to Rotaract members as well?
I believe that Rotaract members as well, because they have access to Rotary.org.
Okay, so if you have a Rotary.org account, you can access?
Yes, and my hope is that this message will be even more meaningful to Rotaractors than Rotarians. I will be speaking at Rotaract clubs as well, and I know that you have connections there. So I'm hoping that you will use those to get me in touch with people.
Wonderful. Yeah, because there's a number of different Rotary programs. RILA is another one, Interact is another one, where this is a perfect resource for them to develop public speaking skills. So it's a wonderful thing that way. So before I ask my next question, anyone else?
Before you do, Don, another thing is, once we're back into the Rotary Youth Exchange as well, I'm thinking that there is a huge opportunity there. So
yes, you will be receiving an invite. So I will pass the microphone over to anyone else that has questions. It is a quiet group today, so I get to ask my next question. My exposure to Toastmasters was about 10, 12 years ago. And when I was in Mexico, Honeywell, where I was working, formed a Toastmasters in English club to help the folks that were having to communicate and do speeches and presentations in their second language develop that comfort level of actually delivering a speech or delivering a presentation in English. Is there any sort of club that's kind of focused on the immigrant community, the newcomers to Canada in London or in the London area, that is giving them an opportunity to develop their public speaking skills?
Not yet, but I'd like there to be. I know that there is in the works a satellite club that I believe this would appeal to. And I am really hopeful to get the message to them. So please get me in touch with anyone you think would be interested.
Don, I have a question. Can we get access to Sue's presentation to show the various links at Rotary.org? I
Yes,
wrote some down, but I'm not sure I got them all, and that would be great to follow that way.
yes, yes, you may. I can email that to Dawn or to anyone that you like. You're welcome to use it in any way that you wish.
You've got my email address, Sue, so if you
Mhm.
can send that to me, that'd be great. Thank you.
I'll send it to you, Malcolm.
Where's all those questions, guys? There should be a whole bunch of questions here. This is interesting subject.
Well, just a note, when we post this meeting on the YouTube site, I'll also do the excerpt just with Sue's presentation so that anybody that wants to review the presentation and access any of the places that she's pointed us to, that will be accessible. So that'll be up on the Rotary Club of London website, hopefully before the week's out.
Wonderful.
I'd just like to, if I can, I'll put in a plug for Toastmasters. When I moved from London to Kelowna, one of the challenges I had was doing training presentations to staff across the West. Training for banking is not all that exciting most times, except for guys like myself and John Boyne and Keith Morrow. The rest may find it somewhat boring, but it was. I took Toastmasters and I found it really helpful. I was much more comfortable giving the presentations, and I somehow managed to make them interesting. So much so that they moved me to Montreal, where the people unfortunately found a much greater challenge with my presentation style, especially in French, and my unique sense of Cape Breton humor. They just did not get most of that. So except for that, I highly recommend Toastmasters. It certainly helped me and benefited. And it may have even kept some of you awake for the year that I was president and stumbled along with presentations on a weekly basis.
Any more questions?
I've got one. Sue, can you quickly tell, how did Toastmasters get started? What's the origins of the organization? If you have a minute to do that.
I do. I can make it very quick because it's back in the 1920s. A fellow named Ralph Smedley noticed, he worked at the YMCA. He noticed that some of the young men needed to brush up on some of their skills. And so he formed Toastmasters. It became international a few years later. And the whole story is on the Toastmasters.org website, but it all started with Ralph Smedley at the YMCA. And to this day, Ralph Smedley's name is very much like in Toastmasters, very much like Paul Harris in Rotary, where we have things like the Smedley Award, and we refer to Ralph Smedley constantly, sort of our daddy, if you will.
Wonderful. Okay, it appears there are no other questions. So Sue, as you probably have guessed from my questions that I asked, I already have some ideas about how we can leverage the Rotary and Toastmasters partnership. So I'm going to thank you for presenting the material to us today, what is available and how the partnership works. I know I had seen this once before, I think when you presented to the Satellite Club, and I think I went home after that and forgot. And you reminded me again today of some of the great things that are available and that we can leverage for Rotaract, for Interact, for Youth Exchange, for RILA, all the different programs that Rotary is involved in. I would like to also acknowledge your presentation today. And in recognition of your presentation, the Rotary Club of London has made a contribution to the Polio Plus campaign of the Rotary Foundation to immunize 50 infants against polio. Because of you, Rotary is one step closer to a polio-free world. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Don. That means a lot to me.
So now it is time for club announcements. Who has announcements?
Heather does.
Fire away.
Just a bit of an update. We've got a couple of sponsors confirmed. It was in the COG this week. So that's wonderful that people have sort of stepped up on that. So we have Harris Funeral Home. We have Stephen and Karen Knox, and Harry Houston's doing our putting contest again. John Eberhard's doing our longest drive. The teams are slowly trickling in. If you're planning on putting a team in, we do have a lower price fee on the golf until the end of the month. So if you can let me know soon that you're working on that, that would be great. At this point, it looks like we have about 12 teams confirmed and about 4 more ifs. So we're doing fairly well on that, but if you could let me know as soon as you can. We may end up with some live entertainment just to change things up a little bit this year, and still waiting to hear back on a few people for sponsorships of doing the holes, etc. So please feel free to be in touch with me at any point in time. Thanks.
Yes, go ahead, Rick.
I'm pleased to announce that Ian Wright, who is our representative on the London Bingo organization, has received word that the London Bingo organization will be reestablishing bingos in the fall. We will learn more about it, but right now what we do know is there will be obviously COVID protocols, and that there will be restricted numbers to participate. We will only need 3 Rotarians for whatever bingo we're being assigned. There will not be matinee nor late evening bingo, so they'll just be at the standard times starting at 6:30, I believe. And there will be more to come, but I will, once I have more details, Randy Harden and I will get information out to the former bingo team to find out those that would be prepared to work bingos, given with the current protocols in place that they assign. And that's good news because it brings back in one of our other good fundraising endeavors. So more to come on that front.
That's wonderful news because yes, as you mentioned, it's a good source of fundraising. It's also an opportunity for me to drink beer and have pizza with fellow Rotarians. So I appreciate that. Are there any other announcements? So I think our next item is Sergeant at Arms. I will quit recording at this point.